Welcome to Fayetteville, Arkansas at Bud Walton Arena. It's the basketball palace of Middle America, but today it's all about gymnastics as the number 16 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks are calling the Hogs. Welcome number 17 Alabama Crimson Tide. You're watching Friday Night Heights presented by Sprouts Farmers Market. Let's take a look at the rankings. These are the SEC teams and how they're ranked in the NCAA. With the addition of Oklahoma, there's now 9 teams. And really the story of this meet, you can see all of them ranked in the top 17. However, only 8 of those teams go to the SEC championships. It's the first time it's been this way. Right now, Alabama on the outside looking in. Arkansas barely on the inside as we see it right now. Hello, everyone. I am John Roethlisberger. I'm joined by Olympic silver medalist and NCAA champion Sam Pesek. Story of this meet is which one of these teams is going to close out the regular season and make it to the SEC championship.
Well, that's why this meet is so important. There's a lot of pressure just to make it into the SEC championship for the first time ever, and these teams are running out of opportunities to move up in the rankings. So for both Alabama and Arkansas, they need to put a complete meet together in order to increase their chances of competing at the SEC championships. And I can tell you that neither of these teams want to be left at home.
Yeah, interesting situation. Wins and losses are important, but it's all about NQS in women's gymnastics, your national qualifying score. And for tonight, these teams, here's what Alabama needs to score better than that 196.1, Arkansas better than that 196.875 to improve their NQS. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what that average score means and how they're doing on that quest. We do have a third member of our team. It's Taylor Davis. Taylor's got more on the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Well, John, Alabama's coming off a loss to Auburn inside Coleman Coliseum last week, in large part due to a bad start. A 48.925 on vault in the first rotation. I spoke with Gabby Gladio this week, who told me it changed the mentality in the gym. She said, we were trying to handle the outcome from the jump. We can't fixate on having a perfect meet, but we can fixate on our approach, and we didn't have the right one. That changed this week in the gym. In fact, head coach Ashley Johnson told me, we don't want to start with rotation 1 of competition. We want to continue the momentum that we already have from 4 rotations of warm-ups. A strong start here tonight is going to be important for them, John, and as the road team, keep in mind, they'll be starting on bars instead of vault.
Thanks Taylor, I did talk to Ashley before the competition. She talked about how, and there's Jordan Weaver, head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks in her 6th season. Ashley talked to her before the competition and said, we won the warm-ups. We've won the warm-ups in the last 4 meets. We need to win the meet. We'll see if she can translate that into a win tonight. Jordan Weaver done an amazing job with this Razorback team, Sam.
Yeah, she really has, but we actually spoke to her assistant coach and husband, Chris Brooks, earlier in the week, and he said this team has done really good meets. They've put up some good scores, but haven't gone lights out on all 4 events yet, and that's the goal for Arkansas coming into this meet tonight.
There is assistant coach Chris Brooks, husband of Jordan Weaver, expecting their first child this coming June, by the way. How does this meet work, you may ask? Well, here is the meet format. 6 gymnasts compete on each event. Top 5 scores count. The lowest one is dropped. That means you can have a mistake. It won't cost your team, but do not have more than 1 mistake. Add those 5 scores up on each event. Highest score wins. Home team, as Taylor had talked about earlier, they start on vault. Visiting team starts on bars, has to end on beam. Tough place to end. And tonight with the drama, Sam, I got to think a lot of this is going to come down to that event in the last routine there. Gabby Gladio is going to lead things off for Alabama on bars. That was her getting ready. This is Cammie Weaver, though, on vault, getting things going for the home team, the Razorbacks.
The name of the game on vault is stuck landings or controlled landings, especially this late in the season. Getting things started with the Yurchenko full hop back. Decent way to start for Arkansas. They're going to want to build off of that Yurchenko full.
That was a beautiful Yurchenko full. You know that's one that she's just a hit as a stick, a miss as a hop, right?
Yeah, the body positions in the air were great. Legs together, legs glued together, and then just the hop on the landing. And that's really where we're seeing the judges are hammering athletes, especially later this season.
Cammie did a Yurchenko 1.5 when she got here. Unfortunately, hurt her knee doing that vault. Hasn't done it since because she really scores high on that Yurchenko full. Now here's one of the leaders of this Alabama team. Need her to do well. This is Gabby Gladio.
I asked why they moved her into this leadoff spot, and they said, you know, she's just such an aggressive, dynamic competitor that attitude and tone really makes for a good rest of the bar set when she creates the momentum for this team, and she's able to put it to her feet. Nice, clean bar set. Nicely done by Gabby. She actually changed her release move. That's a giant full to a double back dismount, just slightly moving of the left foot, but clean routine to get things going for Alabama.
So that score tower on your right shows the lineups for each team on these first events. Scores will populate as they come in. So just keep an eye on that for all of the scores. This is Jalea Lang. She is a freshman from East Palo Alto, California. She's following Cammie Weaver's 9.85, a good start score for that Yurchenko full.
Jalea has been such a rock star on this event. What you're gonna notice is how high she gets off the table. Sometimes the more powerful an athlete can be, the harder it is to find the landing, but she actually does that quite well.
She is a junior national champion on this event back in 2023, so obviously had some success here prior to college.
Been really consistent on this Yurchenko full throughout the season. Huge Yurchenko full. First stuck landing of the night, exactly what Arkansas is hoping to do.
And Sam, with a 9.85 for Cammie Weaver and a clear 1/10 hop on the landing, what do the judges do with this now with the stuck landing?
They gotta go higher. That's the name of the game, and really the strategy these coaches try to put together these lineups to optimize their scoring potential, and couldn't ask for a better vault for Jalea.
Clearly happy about that vault. Now another veteran. They go back-to-back veterans here to start this bar lineup for Alabama. Lily Hudson now.
She's been so consistent across the board. You can put her first, last, doesn't matter. She is an athlete and is gonna get the job done. This is a new dismount this year. Hop forward, under rotated. I saw her stick one of those in warm up though, and it was good.
So interesting strategy to start with two veterans here in the bar lineup. Gabby Gladio, a 9.825 for the first score for the Crimson Tide. If you're just joining us, welcome to Fayetteville and Bud Walton Arena. We have got a good one here in women's gymnastics. Number 16, the Arkansas Razorbacks are hosting the number 17 Alabama Crimson Tide. We are just two gymnasts in on each event. This is Peyton Walker, the third gymnast to go for Alabama on vault. Excuse me, that is Grace Drexler, the third gymnast to go. Unfortunate fall, Sam.
Yeah, they were really starting to build momentum with Jalea's 9.9 in that 2 spot, but I saw Grace have a little trouble with consistency in the warm-up with this. Didn't quite get the block. You see she didn't get both hands with a good block off the table, twist a little early, and that's where you see she came up short in the landing.
So Grace Drexler for Arkansas, the third gymnast to go on vault. She follows two very good vaults. It was a great start for Arkansas on vault. Two great Yurchenko fulls. Alabama on the uneven bar started with Gabby Gladio and Lily Hudson. Both put up nice scores, 9.825, 9.8 respectively. Now this is Peyton Walker, third gymnast to go for Alabama on this event.
This routine is such a wow factor. Look how much airtime she gets on that Pac Salto release move, and is really gentle back up to the handstand. I love watching this routine. She's just so dynamic, and it's really artistic, actually. Finds the landing to a stuck. She makes it look easy.
So 3 hits for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and really the plot of this competition isn't necessarily the head-to-head, it's about what they score, because both of these teams are trying to make it to the SEC championships. Only 8 teams go. Currently, Arkansas is sitting in that 8th spot. Alabama is in the 9th spot. 9 teams in the SEC for women's gymnastics. Those are the scores they need to get tonight to improve their national qualifying score and ideally move up the rankings. So we'll keep an eye on that as we see Dakota Essen-Price, the 4th gymnast here on vault.
A lot of pressure to push it to her feet. Nicely done. I saw her overpower that in warm-up, so she was able to find the ground better than that. Look how high she gets. I see legs squeezed together. Just took a step backwards. That'll be a deduction. You see it on her face. Didn't quite need to take that step.
Well, you can see that 9.15 for Grace Drexler. They're going to want to drop that score. The lightly shaded scores in the score tower are the ones they drop. So you can drop that mistake, but that puts pressure on those last 3 athletes. Essen-Price hit her vault. Klein and Frankie Price to finish things up have got to hit as well. Otherwise, they are going to count a mistake. You get 1 routine for a margin for error, and that's it. Chloe LaCourcier now, the sophomore, tremendous uneven bar worker. She's in the 4 spot. So far, good rotation for Alabama.
She was an All-American on bars just last year as a freshman. And it's because of how rhythmic her bars are. She flows right up to that handstand position. But her release move, she catches with good distance away from the bar. I'd call her a natural bar swinger, and then to be able to put it to her feet with another stuck. They're for 2 for 2 with those stuck landings now.
Alabama trying to take advantage of that mistake from Arkansas on vault. We talked about the score, so these scores will help their respective teams improve their national qualifying score, their NQS. To put it in easier terms, for Alabama to do that, they need to average above a 9.8. For Arkansas, they need to average above a 9.85. Yes, who wins the meet matters to them, but the score is the ultimate importance for both of these teams. So keep an eye on that. 9.8 for Alabama, 9.85 for Arkansas. Haley Klein now the sophomore on vault.
She actually struggled just last weekend on this vault, but man,
not tonight.
Does a good job nailing that landing. She knew exactly where she was in the air. Watch her twist. Her arms open at the perfect time, and you see her eyes just drill down to spot the landing. That's as clean as you can do it.
They needed that one more to go for Arkansas on vault. Back over to bars, and the 3rd member of our team, Taylor Davis.
LaCourcier putting up a 9.95 on bars, John. Those first 4 routines are exactly what Alabama wanted. Coming into this meet, they just had a loss in Coleman Coliseum last week because of a bad first rotation, a 48.925 on vault. Head coach Ashley Johnson's emphasis this week was a strong start. They've done that so far.
Yeah, well, Ryan Fuller in particular, coaches say her superpower is her consistency. Wow, she was far from the bar, but use those go-go gadget arms, just gets the dowel, which is the little piece of your grip to hang on and put it to her feet. They're 3 for 3, exactly what you said, Taylor. They're getting the job done on their first event, which is key for them in this meet. Wanting to see it vertical, can't question that. She holds it, which is what you want to do, to not even give a question to the judges that she didn't hit that vertical position. This is going to be a really big score.
And I got to say, starting with 2 veterans, Gabby Gladio and Lily Hudson in this rotation, they've been having so much on their shoulders all season. They just put them up first. Let them be aggressive, go out there and set the table for the younger athletes seems to be a brilliant strategy. A brilliant vaulter is Frankie Price right here.
Big Yurchenko full, hop back. Pretty significant deduction for that landing, but it was clean in the air. Unfortunately, we're just so far late in the season that you're gonna want to clean up those landings in order to put the score, to get the scores that you want.
And really that Cammie Weaver vault that they led off with and that Frankie Price vault, 2 beautiful Yurchenko fulls, and you know those are ones they really expect and need to have stuck landings on.
And oftentimes they've outscored the 1.5, so it's really a strategy game, a risk versus reward, you may say.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that this season where the lower start value Yurchenko full outscores the more difficult vaults. All right, now Shania Adams trying to put an exclamation point on a tremendous bar rotation for the Crimson Tide.
And she can do it. She is such a beautiful bar worker, just floats from one bar to the next. Very good foundation work in her skills. Flat hips on that handstand. Can she stick the landing? It would really put an exclamation point on an already incredible bar rotation for Alabama.
Right now, Alabama's low score is at Lily Hudson, 9-8.
That's called a bail to handstand. She adjusts slightly on top of the bar, but no question it was vertical.
She's an SEC champ on this event.
She knew it before her feet hit the ground. She wasn't moving.
Team huddle for Alabama. Got to be pleased with how they've started. They've been looking great in warm-ups, as head coach Ashley Johnston had said, but they hadn't been putting it together in the meets. In fact, she said they won warm-ups multiple times. Now they just want to win the meet, and they are definitely off on the right foot.
She said that they're trying to replace those bigger names that competed a lot the last couple years. So even though some of the upperclassmen are competing, they don't have as much competitive experience as maybe some upperclassmen from other teams. So they knew they were going to build as the season progressed.
So Shania Adams, a 9.95, and Alabama will have the lead after the first rotation with a season high 49.475. When we come back, we're going to talk about Maddie Wallagora. She's wearing a new shade of red this season. Came over from Alabama, and now she's a Razorback. Friday Night Heights is presented by Sprouts Farmers Market, official healthy grocer of the Southeastern Conference.
Maddie Wallagora, thank you so much for joining me. Gymnastics is a lifelong commitment, and you've committed almost 6 years to collegiate gymnastics. How have you grown and improved because of this year at Arkansas?
I've grown a lot, and my goal this season was to just improve. Just getting the opportunities to compete more has been super exciting and super rewarding for all the work that we've been putting in. And yeah, I'm just super thankful to have a group of girls who have been there for me during this and also just pushed me to be my best self.
What went into your decision to even pursue a 6th year?
I felt like I just still had more to give to the sport. Just going into the transfer portal was, it was scary, and there was a lot of unknown ahead, but I visited some places and just prayed that, the Lord would see me through the process and that He would give me a place where He wanted me to be for my last year of college gymnastics.
Well, obviously, across all sports, the transfer portal isn't one size fits all, but Maddie Wallagora speaks so highly of both SEC programs that she's been a part of. But head coach Jordan Weaver tells me she has acclimated so quickly that we forget this is just her first year here in Fayetteville. Watching her down here with her teammates, it's the leadership that stands out, really utilizing all the experience she's had the past 5+ years and pouring it in to her teammates. She's originally from Michigan, and her family is in attendance here tonight at Bud Walton. Parents Lynette and Matt in attendance watching their daughter. Like Maddie told me this week, she truly believes she found the right fit for her last year of NCAA gymnastics. And she is leading her team over to the bars when we come back. Can the Gymbacks close the gap after rotation 1? We'll be right back.
Squeeze butt and up. Better. Okay. Series just looked a little mushy here. So you stepped in really hiked, and then you didn't have a lot to work with. Versus when you're a little bit lighter on your hands on your back handspring, you step in and you have a little more bend jump into the layout. Just makes it a little bit easier. That's what I'm seeing. And then dismount, it just needs a little more snap, so you can punch and tumble a little bit more. It's just kind of hitting the beam and dropping back, which is why it's a little under rotation.
Get all Jordan Weaver's secrets right there. Get an inside look at Arkansas gymnastics on March 10th at 10 Eastern time on the SEC Network. But before that, SEC Inside grants you an all-access pass to the defending champs, the LSU Tiger Gymnastics team. You'll get never-before-seen footage and sound from gymnasts and coaches next Friday at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Here at Bud Walton Arena, we are through one rotation, and right now it's the Alabama Crimson Tide. They have a .275 lead. As they move over to vault, Jordan Paradise, the senior, will lead things off for them on that event. The home team, the Arkansas Razorbacks, they have moved over to the uneven bars. A lot at stake here, not just the win, but which team can move into the top 8 in the SEC to get to the SEC championships.
Yurchenko 1.5, a lot of height off the table. She came down, just couldn't control the landing.
So one vault in for Alabama, and over on the bars, we're going to go down to Taylor Davis. Taylor?
John, after Arkansas's vault rotation, assistant coach Chris Brooks gathered the entire team together in a huddle, led them all in a big, deep breath. He said, okay, we settled in now, let's go have fun. They just felt like they were a bit tight, pressing a bit much in rotation one. Wants to see them let it loose a little bit here.
And that's the perfect mindset to have, especially coming to bars, because they've been working on getting over the mental hurdle of stuck landings. Sometimes trying to focus too hard on them leads to more mistakes.
This is freshman Jocelyn Robertson, a star freshman for the Razorbacks. Currently 16th in the country in the all-around.
Really done a nice job acclimating to college gymnastics. It's so different than elite, where you're competing every single weekend. So not only are you physically exhausted, but you're also mentally exhausted as well.
And talking to both coaching staffs before this competition, they all talk about, what are you going to do? What do you got to focus on? Steps. We're late in the season, so, hopefully the routines have been refined. The skills on the apparatus are good, but those landings are such difference makers. And I'll be honest, Arkansas not landing well so far. Karis German, the second gymnast to go. She follows a 9.825 from Jordan Paradise.
Going to be doing a Yurchenko 1.5. Wow, that might be the best Yurchenko 1.5 I've seen her compete. She did an excellent one in warm-up, but last weekend they won the warm-ups on vault and couldn't put it together in the meet. Hoping today the rest of the lineup is going to follow suit, because that was incredible.
Alabama rolling early here in Fayetteville, and momentum is a thing in gymnastics. You start hitting routines and sticking landings, and that carries over, takes a little pressure off your teammates, lets them send it as the coach wants them to do just a little bit more, and that is what Alabama is doing right now. Callie Swaney now follows Robertson's 9.75. They do not want to count that 9.75.
She has a really nice swing on this event. Clean gymnastics, working on getting full vertical on those cast handstands. Double layout, almost hangs on to that dismount. Taking a step forward is a 1/10 deduction, which means her routine automatically starts from a 9.9. That's the transition element, low to high, then high to low. Finishing double layout, you can see she's spotting the ground, but it's the curse of trying to stick too hard.
Chris Brooks.
Chris is saying she let go just a little early on that dismount. Needs to be patient.
Another Alabama freshman, important player for them. Kylie Kwame now follows that. Karis German, 9.925. That's a career high score for her.
Another Yurchenko 1.5. Took a step forward, but did a nice job keeping that left foot planted on the ground, so that one step didn't turn into two.
That's a great point, Sam. You're going to take a step, take it, but make sure it doesn't lead to more deductions, and that was a good hold from her. Just to give you an idea of how big of a swing steps on landings. Karis German score 9.925. Look at Kaylee Swaney's score 9.725. You stick a landing, you lose points. You take a step on a landing, you lose points. Stick the landing, and it's almost like you get a little bit of a bonus with it. It can be quite a big swing. Caitlin Ewald now on bars.
That's a straddle Jaeger release move. Back up to a handstand. I like that she held it for just a little bit. They're wanting to get 4 or 5 sticks, which means she's got to put it to her feet and not move. Double layout gets the job done. Chris Brooks is even pumped up. Great hip position.
Look vertical to me.
Yeah. Double layout and holds onto it. That'll be a slight deduction that she dipped her chest forward, but does not move those feet, which is really important right now.
Kylie Kwame got a 9.8. That is the lowest score, though, for Alabama in this rotation. Here is Corinne Bonogin, the next gymnast to go, the senior.
Struggled a bit on the landing last week, but really controlled this week. Just a small step backwards.
Gosh, so close to sticking that one, too.
When you're watching this, it almost seems easy that they should just stick it every time, but what goes into a perfect stuck landing? Your chest position has to be in the correct place, your core has to be engaged, your knees have to be slightly bent. Everything is so perfect in order to be able to stick the landing.
I mean, you're coming in at Mach 12 doing, a couple flips in the air, 1.5 twists. That doesn't look easy to me, Sam.
And then just don't move your feet.
Exactly. Priscilla Park now on the uneven bars. Caitlin Ewald, a very good 9.875. So scores building. They are going to have to count a 9.7, though.
She is an excellent bar swinger for Arkansas, but she does have to manage her back, so can't do as many numbers as some of the other athletes on the roster. They didn't make it to the rest of throughout the season last year, so they've done a much better job managing her with the skills that give her trouble. This skill in particular, it's called a ray. She actually only does 1 or 2 leading up to the warm-up. Now that one was close. You see she caught with a bent arm, so the judges will likely take a deduction there, but really impressive that she's able to do not very many during the week and put up a stellar routine.
That is something we've seen the judges take more of, I feel like, lately, is the bent arms on those release moves, which has always been a deduction, but it seems like they're really focusing on that. So we'll see what they do with that bar score as Gabby Gladio gets ready to go, waiting for that Bonogin score, 9.85, so good score for her. 2 big vaults to go. Gabby Gladio, Lily Hudson. Lily has scored a 10-0 on vault, so trying to put another exclamation point on the second rotation, the same way they did on bars in the first.
Now she gets a lot of height off the table.
Wow.
Man, a lot of height, but a significant couple steps forward. That's going to be a pretty big deduction, regardless of how great it looked in the air. Look how much air time.
I mean, she would have to put her arms above her head. She's got so much power coming out of that. Put her arms out, but man, you got to pull the parachute to slow that one down.
The max amount of deductions they can take on landings is 4 tenths. I certainly don't think it will be 4 tenths, but I think it's most certainly around that 2/10 range with how big that was.
So Priscilla Park, a 9.775, so probably got her on those bent arms, catching that release move. A lot of pressure here on Maddie Jones.
Arkansas really likes to finish with senior and a grad student because they're such seasoned competitors. They can save those handstands in critical moments. She just places her body straight in that handstand position. Looks really nice. I was gonna say she has a high stick percentage, but I didn't even want to risk jinxing her. She's able to find that landing like we know that she can do.
And they needed that one. Already 3 scores in the 9.7s.
Ooh.
Wow.
Man, veteran move to be able to save a handstand. A lot of athletes would have had to come off the bar and it would be a 5/10 deduction, but she was really great and able to save that.
Fine line between perfection and catastrophe in the sport of gymnastics. Speaking of perfection, Lily Hudson has been perfect on this event. She follows Gladio's 9.825.
We need a big score. She stuck one in warm-up.
Wanted it. Oh, she wanted it, Sam.
So close. You could see it on her face, and she actually was in the correct position to stick. Watch her body when she lands. Her chest is vertical. Her knees are slightly bent. Just couldn't quite hang on to the very last second of it. Still going to be a good score for Alabama to finish things up.
And she hopped to the side. You see those lines. It's not an automatic deduction, but it's kind of an impression deduction. Is that the right way to put it, Sam? That was not a great impression. What do you think?
Yeah, it basically tells the judges that something went slightly off in the air, and they will likely take a deduction, although it's not an automatic deduction. Little confusing there.
They leave it to the eye of the beholder. And when the beholder's the judge, that's not a good thing, generally speaking.
You don't want to leave anything to the judge's eye. You want to cast no doubt on what you're doing.
Now here's grad student transfer from Alabama to Arkansas, Maddie Wallagora, in a big spot for the Razorbacks.
They talk about her leadership and what she's been able to bring to this team, but I think we need to mention the scores and the productivity that she's brought to this team. She's in the anchor spot, and she's been able to deliver big numbers every single week for them. One step on the dismount, but should still be a good score for Arkansas.
That should be a good score. You can see right now the team total on this rotation for Alabama, 49.25. That's better than that 49.05, but when Maddie's score comes in, they will drop that 9.725. So that 49.05 will go up by the difference between those two scores. I know that's a lot to consume, but get out your calculator, get out your notepad at home, and you guys can figure it out. So this will be a very tight rotation. I suspect the lead will still be Alabama's. The question is how much.
You don't want to leave anything in question for the last event, though, because Arkansas is really known as a floor team, and they're known as a team that can perform in this arena. Bud Walton Arena seems to be their magical place. They've taken down the reigning national champions, LSU and Florida, right here in this building.
Maddie Wallagora, a 9.875. So Alabama does extend the lead by half a tenth. And I got to think the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Ashley Johnson's got to be pleased so far. We'll find out. Taylor?
You're right about that, John. Thanks so much. Well, Coach, we talked a lot about the importance of their mentality in the start of this one in light of what happened last weekend. What kind of response did you see?
So proud of the team and how they started. We just keep talking about don't wait for the moment. Create your moment and just look at the moment right in front of your face and go attack it. And I'm really proud of the way they started.
You've got to lead through two in a hostile environment. How do you keep it?
We've got to just keep our head down and keep working. I think the team's doing a great job of bringing our own unique cheers and the things that help keep them playful and light and fun. And we've got to keep that mentality and not take things too serious.
On to floor. Let's have some fun. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate it. Roll Tide.
Thanks, Taylor. Happy Ashley Johnson. And one thing she's certainly happy about is the freshmen that she has on this team. They have been big contributors tonight and certainly will be important if they're going to have postseason success.
The freshman class is truly a bundle of joy. They're nothing but fun, and they always put their heads down and do their work, and it's just really amazing to see such a young group of girls doing their job.
We have 6 amazing freshmen. So far, they are bringing such a hungry, eager attitude and work ethic, and it's been really exciting to kind of see that iron sharpens iron mentality.
They're amazing. They bring such energy, they bring such joy to the space, and they're true leaders coming in as freshmen, and just being able to jump right in and attack everything that's in front of them has been really amazing to watch.
Well, guys, we've seen across NCAA gymnastics this year the impact of some of these freshmen, and it has certainly been on display in Tuscaloosa so far this season. Even here tonight, you see the impact of Kwame and Fuller and Walker and how quickly they've acclimated. In fact, I asked Lily Hudson what she thought of this freshman class. She said, I've been doing this a long time, and I look up to them. Of course, there's going to be growing pains, but how quickly they've taken to a competitive environment has really stood out. And John, it gives you a lot to be excited about if you're an Alabama fan.
Yeah, Taylor, absolutely. These freshmen certainly have contributed big time tonight, Sam. They're difference makers.
Yeah, well, head coach Ashley Johnson speaks really highly of them, and it's a team that's been building throughout this season, and she said she feels like they're finally hitting their sweet spot. The freshmen and underclassmen are getting more experience in those competition spots, and they do their best when the mentality is to let go and send it, and that's really what we've seen from the first and two events of the night.
Really the difference maker so far, if you're going to point to a few routines, it's the end of that bar rotation for Alabama.
Yeah, Chloe LaCourcier, 9.95, huge score, nice stuck landing. And this is Ryan Fuller, the freshman, who followed it up with a big 9.9 to keep the momentum moving at the back end of the lineup. And Shania Adams, grad student, but delivers when she needed it the most, 9.95 to anchor that lineup.
Well, Alabama trying to do something no one has done here at Bud Walton Arena this year, and that's win. But they got the Razorbacks on the ropes halfway through. Welcome back to Fayetteville through two rotations. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Jumped out to that .275 lead, slightly extended it after two rotations. We talked about what these two teams need to do. 8 teams make the SEC championships. Arkansas is 8th right now, Alabama 9th. In order to improve their NQS, their national qualifying score, which is what rankings are based on, Alabama needed to average over a 9.8. So far, they have averaged a 9.8725. That is huge for them. Arkansas needed to average a 9.85. Right now, they're averaging a 9.84. So Alabama with the lead, going for the win. But the big plot here is who can maintain a top 8 ranking in the SEC. Right now, Arkansas is in, but they are hanging on by their fingernails. As the Alabama Crimson Tide are putting up a big meet with that number, the way it's looking right now, they would leapfrog the Razorbacks. Obviously, 2 events to go, a lot more gymnastics in the season. Well, not a lot, Sam. We're coming to the end, but a lot of pressure on these gymnasts. As we see Callista Gamio start things off for Arkansas on beam, and now the pressure just amps up, especially with this event.
And this is really a good test for them because they've been a bit inconsistent. They put up some high team scores on this event, and they've struggled throughout the season. But they seem to do pretty well in this arena, and I'm sure they're hoping for another strong beam rotation. Callista is so easy to watch on this event. She really just floats down to the landing, and she has this calming effect. Even for me, I'm just sitting here. So you can imagine what that does to the rest of their lineup.
And they're really trying to shake off last week's beam performance, Sam, where they had to count a 9.225. So they need a big one here.
Yeah, Callista just really makes this entire routine look so easy and casual. That's really her charm on this event. It would mean a lot to get a stuck landing for their first athlete up. That's what they're hoping to see throughout this lineup. You couldn't ask for anything more from their leadoff athlete.
They had some good landings on the end of the bar rotation. They've got to continue that. They've got to win the stick contest on the second half of this meet. Alabama, I think, won it the first half. They've got the lead. Arkansas, they've got to win it in the second half if they want a chance to come out of here with a W and improve that NQS.
Well, Alabama needs to have a significant lead going into that last event because you know Arkansas can rock it at home.
And as you mentioned, on an event, they are tremendous on the floor exercise. Here is Jamison Sears. She can absolutely fly. Saw her warm up this mount, Sam, before the meet. The big thing for her, can she control the landing? So much power.
She did it in warm-up, double pike, bounced out of that. It's really tough to control your momentum when you have so much adrenaline, especially for a powerful athlete like Jamison. This is important. Combination pass. Watch the landing. You don't want to see her feet move. Good job trying to work out of that one.
She's really an important gymnast for them. She has so much talent. Won the Nastia Cup, which is a huge junior competition, and really somebody who can contribute on all 4 events. For our final SEC Network women's basketball triple header of the regular season, the number 11 Lady Vols host Georgia Sunday at noon Eastern. The number 1 Texas hosts Florida. And we cap the afternoon with number 7 LSU hosting Ole Miss in Baton Rouge. Can't believe we are coming down to the end of the regular season in basketball and women's gymnastics. Some great postseasons to come for both of those sports. Gamio, a 9.9 in the leadoff spot. That is a season-high score for her, and so important for the Razorbacks as we see the grad student, Maddie Wallagora, saw her end that bar rotation here. She is second up on beam.
I had a chance to ask her how she calms her nerves in pressure situations, and she said, I really like to take deep breaths and make them intentional and calm my nerves before I do my beam routine. She's been such a rock for Arkansas. Wow, that was so crooked. Her toes were off the beam in the back handspring, and she pulled it back on, didn't even wobble. Good side aerial. I like how sharp she's finishing these skills. Leadoff athlete scored 9.9. Didn't see any major deductions, so they're hoping to build on that, especially with another stuck landing. It's possible.
There's the Wallagora family. Gotta love that. Maddie's gotta love it too, you know. You come over from another team, and you gotta think there's a little part of her that just would love to beat that old team.
Yeah, hopefully you saw her toes. They were off the beam going into the layout.
Jordan Weaver's got to love it. 2 stuck landings in a row. The first gymnast up for both teams, both 9.9s. Those are career high scores for both those athletes. So the lead for Alabama stays the same. Shania Adams, the second gymnast to go here in the 3rd rotation.
She's an athlete that can put up a really big score for Alabama. Watch her upper body when she lands this tumbling pass. She has such good posture in those landings. Makes it look like she goes even higher. Last week, Alabama went a huge 49-6 on floor, so they're hoping to repeat. They certainly can do that, starting with a 9.9, and this is looking similarly just as good, if not better, than Jamison's 9.9.
Are you calling it, Sam? Is that what you're saying? It's going to be a 9.9?
I'm calling it.
You're putting it out there?
It's going to be a 9.9 or better.
If it is a 9.9, it's going to give them another extension of that lead.
Double pike. You see, she almost lifted those toes, but pressed them down, saving herself that deduction.
Maddie Wallagora, 9.875. So if you want to match routines, for each of these squads in this rotation. Maddie Wallagora 9.875. That means if Shania Adams should go 9.9, that will extend that Crimson Tide lead, which, reminder, it was .325 after the second rotation. That means it's about a field goal difference, if you will, maybe slightly more in football terms, as Priscilla Park now is on the balance beam. Every routine critical from this point on.
She changed her routine construction pretty significantly this year, and it's been going very well throughout the season. This series, she used to do a triple series. Now she does a back handspring layout. It's been a lot more consistent in the gym. You want to pick skills that each athlete can do in their sleep. Obviously, they're not going to do it with their eyes closed, but you want to have no doubt that under any pressure situation, you're going to be able to make that skill. You can see since she's changed those skills in her routine, her confidence has really improved, and that's something that the coaches have been speaking to me about, is just that level of calmness they see from her every time she competes now. Side aerial, 1.5, took a step backward. That'll be a 1/10 deduction, but really good on the beam. This mount was part of that new routine construction. Really difficult candlestick mount.
Have you ever tried that?
No, it's not something I would want to try, but she makes it look easy.
I want to know how you start to work that, because you can't be off, really, ever.
Progressions. Every time an athlete comes off the equipment, getting final words from their coach.
Chloe LaCourcier now follows that Shania Adams. Sam nailed it, 9.925, actually better than that 9.9.
Double back. Pretty big hop out of that double back, but doesn't go out of bounds.
Hop and slide.
Yeah, hop and slide. Combination pass. No problems on the landing there. Nice finish to that routine. She's always so beautiful to watch on that event.
Really a talented gymnast. I think she's one that has been good, but she's got the potential to be great.
Watch the landing. You see she hops back and then slides that front foot. Judges can take up to 4/10. My guess is that the judges will likely take 2 since she hopped back and then slid that front foot. We'll see.
So if I'm doing your math correct, she shouldn't get higher than a 9.8.
We'll see.
We shall see. Putting the judges on the spot. I love this, Sam. Priscilla Park, a 9.8. Now Callie Swaney, the 4th gymnast to go. That's the lowest score for them in this beam rotation, though. A good start for them. 3 gymnasts to go, though. This back end of the lineup, that's the part of the lineup you want to see 9.9s.
Pitch kick into a front aerial. Preparing for her series. Triple series, back handspring layout. looks easy to me. When we spoke to assistant coach Chris Brooks this week, he said that the training was that this week was that they were focusing on getting rid of the distractions at meets. And scoring has been such a distraction. We've heard that from a lot of teams. So instead of focusing on scores in the gym, they took that away and had to earn points. And they felt like that really helped them get their mindset off of the scores and just thinking about the skills in front of them, taking the emphasis away from that score. Watch this series. Nice rhythm. Back handspring layout. Beautiful.
So 4 gymnasts done on beam for Arkansas with that Callie Swaney routine. Chloe LaCourcier, 9.825, Sam. And that 9.825 is the low score for Alabama on floor. Very close to that 9.8 that we were talking about. Rachel Rabicki now, the junior, in the 4 spot.
She is a key player on floor for Alabama. She tends to be really clean in her skills. Oh man, hop back again. My guess is that they got so excited from the 2 high scores from Jamison and Shania early on in the lineup and had a little bit more adrenaline than they can control. Well, she finishes with a great last pass, and this Alabama team proved to be a really strong floor team just last week. Watch her feet on this first pass. She lands, and that first foot that does not stay planted, and that's really what the judges are looking for.
So similar to that LaCourcier landing deduction we saw on the last routine. We'll see what the judges do with that one. LaCourcier, of course, scored a 9.825. I expect this one to be in a similar range. Would you say, Sam?
Yeah, I think so too.
Cammie Weaver, now the 5th gymnast to go, follows at 9.825 from Swaney.
This is a good redemption moment for her. She struggled last week. Back handspring layout. Good adjustment at the end. Sometimes when she gets nervous, she can rush this routine. So we're really looking for her to slow down, keep the rhythm the same from start to finish. That's what she struggled on last week and didn't show any signs of being nervous here today. The key for her is to go up and be aggressive. And I'm really noticing that from her today. Round up 1.5. Oh, so close to those sticks. And you see that when they take a step back, almost delayed, that's when they're trying too hard to stick because they couldn't quite hold their feet down.
It's like your brain can process, I really don't want to do this. I'm going to do this, aren't I? And she did, unfortunately. Lily Hudson now the next gymnast go. She's in a little back and forth with her teammate, Gabby Gladio, for the all-around competition. They are the only 2 gymnasts tonight doing all 4 events. Lily tremendous here. She's currently ranked 16th in the nation, has been perfect on this event as well, like she has been on vault.
Front layout, front double full, really difficult combination pass to get things started.
That score for Ibiki, a 9.925, Sam. They saw something maybe a little differently than you and I did. We thought it might be lower than that.
Well, the judges are on either side of the floor, so their vantage point is a little different than our camera angle, so maybe they saw something different.
Are you giving them an out, Sam? You giving them a break?
Trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
That's not like you.
Finishing 2.5. This is looking so good. She's proven to be perfect on this event.
This season, actually. Got a perfect 10 here.
Only the third Alabama gymnast to earn 3 10s in her career. Could this be another one? I didn't see any problems with that first pass, and let's check the feet. Great landing there. When you're going forward, you're allowed to take one step forward with no deduction.
Well, over to beam, we got Jocelyn Robertson. Taylor's got more on her.
John, when she was preparing to head up here for this beam routine, she actually stepped away from her teammates. She was down here by bars, went through the entirety of this routine, salute to salute, with her eyes closed. It was interesting, Sam. We talk a lot about the different mental approaches, especially for gymnasts that have competed at the highest level like Jocelyn.
Yeah, I asked her before the meet, how do you calm your nerves? And she said, I really try to switch it to excitement. I really genuinely get excited to prove myself every single time I compete. She said in elite, you have to prove yourself all the time. And so competing in these environments are fun for her.
Well, the pressure only ramps up as you get to the end of the season and the postseason here in collegiate gymnastics. And right now, it's about as much pressure as you're going to get in a regular season meet. Lily Hudson, a 9.95.
Side aerial back layout. Calling the hogs in her beam routine. Usually you see athletes get the crowd going on floor. She brings in that extra distraction and it works for her. Slight hop on the landing, but really good routine from Jocelyn.
Is it calling the hogs or summoning the hogs? I thought, is that the same thing?
Calling the hogs, John. Watch her heel.
That was savvy right there.
Yeah, she was pretty crooked going into that layout. Adjust quickly. Nicely done.
So for Arkansas, a good floor rotation. They had 3 season-high scores going into that Robertson beam routine. And that should be a good number for Robertson as well. But Alabama on floor exercise, 4 scores of 9.9 or better. And then look who's coming. Gabby Gladio, she's 6th in the country on this event. A chance to really put their foot down on this meet.
And look how high she gets in her tumbling passes. Open, tuck full in, huge pass, no movement of the feet.
Alabama currently on pace for their best score of this entire season, and it would be a road score, which means a lot for that national qualifying score, which is how these teams are ranked.
Front layout to a 1.5, big, huge split jump. puts an exclamation point at the end of that routine. Her whole teammates finishing that routine with her. That's going to be huge.
What a finish.
You can count almost 3 seconds, not quite, but it feels that way with how high she gets on that first pass, and even her leaps get so high in the air. Powerful athlete, and she has a really great ability to control the landings as well.
Yeah, so much power does Gabby Gladio have. Assistant coach Amelia Hunley on the left there with some words for the team. Came into this rotation with a .325 lead, did the Alabama Crimson Tide. Jocelyn Robertson, a 9.925 for her beam routine, and man, did they need that. That equals a career high score. Gabby Gladio equals a career high score for her. One judge, Sam, gave her a 10, the other one did not. The average is a 9.975. Well, Taylor Davis, she's got the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Taylor.
I sure do. Thank you very much, John. Well, Coach, Jocelyn closing it out with a 9.925. What'd you think of that beam rotation?
I thought it was a lot of improvement, and beam was a really big emphasis this week. We've been talking a lot about just taking it one skill at a time. You know, we played a little points game with our warm-up and the meet, and I think that's really helping them to get out of their heads a little bit, so I'm really proud of the improvement today.
I just heard you hyping them up before going over to floor, something you guys take pride in. How can they harness that energy?
Yeah, I mean, doing what we do at home on floor, you know, finishing out with a floor party, and really just getting the crowd engaged. I feel like when they just focus on the performance, the gymnastics comes. So we're going to do what we do over there.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
John, it's a floor party.
It is absolutely a floor party coming up. Both of these teams with so much hopes for the postseason. Like Survivor says, don't lose the grips on the dreams of your past. You got to fight to keep them alive, and these teams are doing just that.
Just does it so well.
It's top-notch excellence every single time.
Big time gymnastics here.
That was amazing.
There's no resting in the SEC.
It is going to be awesome. One of the most exciting competitions of the year, the SEC Championships, March 22nd, 3:30 and 8 Eastern on the SEC Network. Better yet, come to Birmingham, see it in person. With the addition of Oklahoma, there are 9 teams in the SEC. Only 8 make it to the SEC Championship. So for the first time, the lowest ranked team is out, Sam. And coming into this meet, it's the Alabama Crimson Tide out, Arkansas in. We've talked a lot about it all night long. But right now, it's Alabama on the road, on pace to put up their highest score of the season. It's big for them.
Yeah, head coach Ashley Johnston just talked about how important it was for them to start off on the right foot, and they were able to do that. And it seems as though they've been able to capture that momentum throughout the meet, but ending on beam is going to be a big test for them. In the gym this week, they were pig-sueying to cause a lot of distraction because they know this environment here is tough to compete in.
Well, the first half of the competition, we talked about the end of their bar rotation. So far in the second half, it's the end of this floor rotation that was big.
Yeah, Shania Adams always does a really good job with clean tumbling. Then Rachel Rybicki follows her with a big 9.925, and the scores continue to build. Lily Hudson, 9.95, and then Gabby Gladio. One judge thought it was perfect, 9.975. That is a huge floor team score for them going to their last event.
In order to improve their NQS, you can see what they need in this last rotation. That's not a big score for Alabama. That's a decent number for Arkansas. Certainly doable. It is going to be a great final rotation here in Fayetteville. You're watching Friday Night Heights, presented by Sprouts Farmers Market. It's rowdy in Bud Walton Arena, and it's a good competition. The visitors, though, the Alabama Crimson Tide got the lead And this is how it's played out through 3 rotations. They took that .275 lead after 1, and they built it to .625. That is more than a touchdown. That is a 10-point lead if you're in a football game. So that is a comfortable lead for Alabama. As it sits right now, Alabama just needs to hit Beam. If they hit 5, Sam, they're going to jump Arkansas in that national rankings, which will, for the moment, put them into the SEC championships and would put Arkansas out. With some meets yet to go, but that's where it would look now.
Alabama, similar to Arkansas, has been a bit inconsistent on Beam. So again, this is going to be a really good test for them to finish on this event here.
Yeah, Alabama with the big lead, but put this into perspective. Got to finish on Beam. This is an event, Alabama is ranked 28th in the country. By far their lowest ranking by almost 20 spots out of the 4 events. So they have not been good on this event this season, and this is an important spot for Chloe LaCourcier as she leads off and her teammates to finally deliver on this event.
I really enjoy watching her work Beam, and I was interested to hear that she actually used to hate Beam. A lot of people I know come to college not loving Beam, but they've worked really hard on her approach to get her to find joy in this event, and especially in that leadoff spot. She actually draws to help calm her nerves. And she's become really good at drawing elephants, we hear, but it helps her create that playful attitude when jumping up to a pressure situation like a leadoff spot on Beam. This is looking strong. Exactly how Alabama was hoping to start this last event. Stuck 1.5. You see her head nod. That's what they want to do.
A 9.8 average for the Alabama Crimson Tide on Beam will be a new team high score for the season. And I tell you what, Sam, to get a season high score on the road at the end of the season when you put up a bunch of scores isn't usually how it works. Usually those big scores come at home, certainly midway through the season, but this would be real big for Ashley Johnson, the head coach there, and her team. Over to floor exercise with Arkansas, number 8 in the country on this event, their highest ranking of all of the 4 events. And this is Callista Gamio. Saw her start things off on Beam so well. Here she is starting things off on floor.
You see her come off the floor. There must have been an issue with the music. That's not a deduction, but it does rattle you as an athlete. You have a mental routine before you even step on the floor, so getting out of that bubble, you can't tell that it affects her, but it does just disrupt your preparation. Finishing double back, slide on that landing. But a really fun performance. You can just hear the crowd heating up.
Rare 3-pass routine. And yes, you said it, Sam, heating up here in Bud Walton.
Watch her feet. She takes a lunge, but she doesn't move that front foot. Her toes come up, but that does not count as movement. But she did slide on that last pass, so that'll likely be a deduction.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle it, because we've seen a routine with that in it twice from Alabama. One got 9.825, one got 9.925. Now we'll see what they do with Gamio's routine as freshman Ryan Fuller. I think Sam Peshek, I heard her say she's going to be a star.
I did say that, and I'll tell you why. You can just tell that she has a really sound mind, and I had a chance to ask their coach Justin Spring about it, and he said, yeah, I think she has one of the best mental games on the team, similar to Lily Hudson, where she's just an athlete, and meaning that every time she salutes, she actually does better than when she practices. I think similar or different than other athletes, you can actually see in her face she's in the zone when she's up there on the beam. Eyes looking at the end of the beam. That's what I call the #1 rule of beam.
And don't understate this moment for a freshman. This arena is getting loud with Arkansas on floor, the meat on the line, and Ryan Fuller delivering.
Hop on that dismount, almost had it.
So 2 routines now done for Alabama on beam. Sunday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, we'll have a 3.5-hour best of this weekend's SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. The Arkansas Razorbacks are the defending men's and women's champs. The event takes place at Texas A&M College Station. So Gamio a 9.85, right in between those 2 scores we gave as an example, Sam. And Haley Klein now takes to the floor. 9.85 is not going to be good enough for Arkansas to beat Alabama tonight if Alabama keeps hitting routines. They're going to need a little help from the Crimson Tide, meaning they need to make a mistake.
But Arkansas is usually so strong on this event because of landings like that. Coaches honestly couldn't say enough positive things about this athlete. They said Haley is the first one in the gym every day, no questions asked. Another solid routine for Arkansas. These scores are going to start building.
Yeah, and the energy building up. I'm kind of curious, Taylor, you're down there. I see kids standing at the rope. I see the team standing right next to each other. The crowd's getting wild. Can you feel a difference in the electricity in this last rotation?
I mean, John Jordan Weaver told us before the break it's a floor party in here, and that's exactly how I would describe it. You're 100% right. The energy definitely changed leading into this 4th rotation because they all know what they're capable of on floor. And, you know, it's interesting hearing you both talk about what still is on the line for both of these teams to close out the season. And both teams kind of have the mentality that what we want is still within reach. And obviously both of them feeling like they need to put up a good score here tonight. But for Arkansas, they've got the crowd behind them right now. So
yeah, you nailed it, Taylor. Both of these teams, they can miss the SEC championships, and either one of them could still make the NCAA championships. That is kind of mind-boggling and tells you how tough the SEC is, as we see Rachel Rybicki on beam now for Alabama.
Nice move with that front foot. Coaches say that she's really the definition of the quote that she doesn't practice until she gets it right. She wants to continue practicing until she can't get it wrong. That's how she shows up to practice every day. It's really helped her, especially on this event here, become so consistent and compete with confidence.
You can see that 9.775 from Ryan Fuller. You've heard me talk about the 9.7 scores as ones you don't want to have. It's kind of like that weird uncle at the family reunion. You just don't want to have one of those. And that's not going to kill Alabama, though. They got a big lead. Yeah, they don't want to count that score, but that's not going to cost them the meet as long as they don't have more mistakes.
And this dismount is new for her this year. Front full. Good change, because when you can stick it in critical moments like they're in right now, you know you got a winner.
Just 3 routines to go for Alabama. They really only need 2 out of those 3 to be hit routines, and they are certainly going to come out of here with a win and what looks like a season-high score, and certainly a higher national qualifying score, which will improve their ranking with just a few meets to go for them. Maddie Jones now follows Haley Klein's 9.9. That is a career high score for her. So Arkansas doing what they need to do, hoping to put some pressure on the Crimson Tide and that beam rotation, and maybe, just maybe, get a shot at keeping this undefeated home floor season going.
Opens with a front double full. Beautiful landing. Nice timing on that combination pass. Perfect landings. This is certainly going to score above a 9.9. I've always been so curious of how Jordan Weaver has put together training plans for her Arkansas team, because they are always such a standout on this event. And Chris Brooks said it's because they're rigorous training plans and they're never tired for their last pass. It's something that they're really proud of. You can just see energy throughout these routines, and this late in the season, sometimes that's tough to do.
Got the number 3 hype man working hard. Not sure what his score is, but he's doing his job. Taylor, what you got?
John, we've talked about the energy and the environment in here for this 4th rotation, but I'm down here behind the Alabama huddle, and it really has not been affecting them. But it's something that they went to great lengths to prepare for this week. They actually brought in a member from their marketing department, had him play the act of hype man. They actually read through Arkansas's lineup on floor. They were playing music while doing the beam set, trying to prepare for exactly this moment.
Oh.
What a save.
Wow, I cannot believe she said that's a willpower save right there.
And maybe that pressure in practice, Taylor, paid off right there, because she easily could have been off the balance beam. This is Corinne Benogin.
They wanted to mentally thrive in this environment, and I think that's a win. Significant deduction, but man, she didn't come off that beam, and most would in that scenario.
She's following Rabicki's 9.9. That's a career high score for her. Strong finish.
Yeah, minimized every deduction possible. Back handspring. You see she was already off on the right side. Her right hand was off the beam and continued that trend for her layout. But usually if you're face sideways and twirling your arms around, you're most certainly off the beam. I don't know how she saved that actually.
That's going to be the new low score for Alabama on beam. They're going to count that 9.775 from Fuller. So what does that mean to the Crimson Tide? Right now, it doesn't mean a whole lot if they get hit routines from Hudson and Gladio in the last 2 spots. But I'll tell you what, the pressure in this arena for the Crimson Tide has just gone up significantly. We'll see how they handle it. Let's see how Maddie Waladora handles this floor routine. She follows a 9.95, scores building for the Razorbacks.
So the key for the rest of these athletes is to not move their feet when they land. Easier said than done, of course. Difficult combination pass, landed a little low. Seeing the facial expressions throughout their routines, and that's a point of emphasis that they work on in the gym. Not only the details on the landings, but where they look at every part of their choreography. Clean last pass. I'm sounding like a broken record, but it's going to be another good score for Arkansas.
Objects in your mirror are closer than they appear. Arkansas coming for the Crimson Tide.
Front layout into a front double full. That's a difficult pass. You see she landed a little more bent knees than judges would like, but comes back with a really strong last pass and still will be a good score.
Gabby Gladio now in the new biggest pressure situation for Alabama, follows Benoggin's 9.725. I'm sorry, Lily Hudson in the new biggest pressure spot. Saw the all-around standings there. Her teammate Gabby Gladio just ahead of her. Two veterans to finish out this beam rotation.
Yeah, if I was building a team and I wanted anyone in any pressure situation, it would be Lily Hudson. She is just such a gamer and locked in. Seems like she's almost unfazed by the pressure, or she likes it, one of the two. Switch leap, switch leap.
If Lily and Gabby can average a 9.75 on these last two routines, it will be a season-high score for Alabama.
Lily does aggressive beam, sharp landings. Good adjustment on that peak jump. It's going well. This is about the part of the routine where you're telling yourself, just get off the beam. And by the way, stick the landing if possible. Oh, pop on the landing, but very solid on the beam.
Now over to floor exercise. Sensational freshman Jocelyn Robertson, number 23 in the country, top 25 athlete on this event, has a high score this season of 9.95. Her floor exercise as an elite, Sam, one of the best in the world. Could be a world medalist at times of her career on this event. That's how good she is. Let's see what she can do here following a trio of 9.9 plus scores from her teammates.
Because she had such difficult skills in elite, coaches have talked about it's often challenging for her to dial back the difficulty to just do a double layout.
Just.
Exactly. She's used to twisting that, but it looks like she figured it out. No problems on the landing on that double layout.
Textbook perfection on that landing.
talked to Jocelyn before the meet. She said, it's really cool that our team is on the same page. She said it makes it so much easier to go up and compete having that alignment.
Look out. They have set her up, Sam. And you know what I'm going to say. They have set her up with those scores of 9-9, 9-9-5, and 9-9-2-5 into that routine for a perfect 10, and I'm hard to find a deduction.
Yeah, it started strong with this double layout. Both feet planted at the end. Finishes layout, step out to a double back.
Taylor, you might want to take cover. If it's not a 10, there might be a floor storming. I'm not sure if that's ever happened in gymnastics, but it might be one. All right, now it's Gabby Gladio's turn on the balance beam. She follows Lily Hudson's 9-8-5.
Huge back handspring layout step out. I love watching that series. She brings such a dynamic approach to this routine. Front aerial, feet jump. The crowd is erupting, and Gabby had one slight wobble, but in comparison to what it sounds like in here, she's doing a good job managing those nerves.
And it's because of that Jocelyn Robertson score of a 9-9-5. One judge saw perfection. One judge saw half a tenth. Tremendous job from the freshman.
Round off, double full. Great job sticking that landing, anchoring it. They needed her big score. It's certainly going to be higher than a 9.725, which they're currently dropping. That was a big pressure moment for Alabama, and they went to work.
So it is going to be a season-high score for the Crimson Tide. They will, according to my crack statistician, Chris Capo sitting right next to me, they will pass Arkansas in the national rankings. That is big, but it's not all bad news for the Arkansas Razorbacks either. They already have a team-high score on the floor exercise. They will improve their NQS as well as one of the best in the country. Frankie Price gets her turn.
Opens, double layout, hop on that landing. I was just gonna say, if Jocelyn Robertson wasn't set up perfectly, Frankie Price was.
Entire arena was a little bit confused by that score, and I asked head coach Jordan Weaver, I said, what was the deduction? She said, there wasn't one.
I'm having a hard time disagreeing. Judges are making the athletes work a little harder for those 10s, which I don't think is a bad thing this season. Raising the bar of perfection, if you will.
Price is just such a seasoned performer. I love watching her do this routine. Not only does she have big tumbling passes, but she's got the choreography down. I saw her look the judge in the eye on the ending. Really telling him, hey, give me a high score.
Jordan Weaver has got to be pleased. They will not get the win. However, in women's gymnastics, there are other ways to get wins, and improving your NQS, getting a high score, which they certainly are going to have a good number here tonight, improves those rankings. And that is ultimately what they need right now.
And even without Frankie Price's score, that 49-6 is almost 0.3 higher than their average all season long. So really ending on a high note for Arkansas in their home arena.
So we'll see where the NQS and the rankings flush out. Their NQS will go up. I'm not sure where Arkansas's rankings per se will go up, but they have improved their NQS. That's what you need to do here late in the season. Chris Brooks certainly letting his team know how he feels about tonight's competition. I'm sure a lot of good things. And the Crimson Tide thrilled. Gabby Gladio a 9.9, Frankie Price a 9.9. And that 197.65 for the Crimson Tide. It got close, Sam, at the end. It was over a 6/10 lead for Alabama. But you said that floor rotation for Arkansas. Alabama would need a big lead, and they needed every bit of it to hold off the Razorbacks. But look at this. Alabama moves up 2 spots in the SEC. They actually leapfrog, let's say they vault over the Auburn Tigers. And now Arkansas is in the 9th spot, and they are on the outside looking in for the SEC championships. Wow, what a night. We are not done. We are going to come back and wrap things up here in Fayetteville, but it is a jubilant Alabama Crimson Tide as they celebrate the win. Friday Night Heights is presented by Sprouts Farmers Market, official healthy grocer of the Southeastern Conference. What a competition here in Fayetteville. It looked like Alabama was going to run away with, but Sam Pesek said Alabama needs a big lead going into that 4th rotation because Arkansas is so good on floor. They had a big lead, and it was enough. Arkansas closes the gap to just over 0.2 of a point. But here's the thing. Both of these teams, Sam, season high scores. Both of them improved their national qualifying score as well.
I think both of these teams are going to be really happy with the outcome of the meet. Of course, Arkansas didn't want to have a loss in this arena. That's special to them, but they still put up a really big score. And when you look at Alabama, head coach Ashley Johnston's been telling us, if you look on paper to see what this team has done, it's frustrating. But if you look inside, it's pretty incredible. And she keeps telling us week in and week out that this team is starting to believe, and you're seeing that come to fruition here in the meet.
And Alabama gets the team win. They also had the all-around champ. It was a 2-person race for that. Gabby Gladio, Lily Hudson. It was Gabby Gladio's title tonight.
Yeah, she has been so solid throughout the season. Big Yurchenko, 1.5. Had that big step forward, so can you imagine how well they're going to do when she nails that landing? But floor was outstanding, 9.975. Anchors the Bean lineup as well, closing it for Alabama.
Gabby was certainly feeling it, had the power tonight as well, and I think Taylor Davis is with that athlete. Taylor?
I sure am, John. That power definitely paid off. Gabby, you have become quite the floor phenom so far this season. A 9.975 here in a road meet. Walk me through that floor routine.
Yeah, you know, having the team beside me, that gives me all the confidence I need. But I think for me, it's just having fun with it. Big shout out to my coach, Amelia. She created that routine, and she's allowed me just to have so much fun. You know, the gymnastics is one thing, just to be able to perform in front of, even though this isn't my home crowd, just all these fans is really cool.
You guys were on the heels of a disappointing loss last week at home, but you told me there was a mental shift. You come to Fayetteville and put up a season-high score. How did you see that mental shift tonight?
Absolutely. We use this metaphor of a poker game, and we're kind of just putting all our chips in and betting on ourselves. And we came in today, and the slogan of the night was Bet on Bama.
Bet on Bama, you did. Well, obviously, postseason looms, a spot in the SEC championship, which I know is important to you guys. A few more regular season meets. What will you take from this one to help you guys achieve the goals you still have?
Absolutely. You know, it's more of a rinse and repeat situation. We still have things to work on. This is a great win, and I want us to soak it in, but it's back to the gym on Monday. We got to work even harder because season's not even close to being done yet.
More work to do, but you better go celebrate this one. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Roll Tide.
John.
Thanks, Taylor. Happy Gabby Gladio, just what Alabama needed. Upcoming TV schedule, we can see Kentucky, Georgia will be good, as well as the Tiger versus Tiger. But man, the postseason, oh, I'm so excited. I know Sam's excited as well. SEC Championships, March 22nd, and then the NCAA Tournament Selection Show. Can't wait to be a part of that as well. That'll be fun, man. Women's gymnastics in the postseason, it is as good as any sport in the country. Make sure you guys continue to tune in. It's been a great season. Congratulations to Alabama. They get the win tonight with that 197.65, a season high for them. Arkansas gets a season high as well. For more women's gymnastics, tune in Sunday for number 10 Kentucky versus number 9 Georgia at 6 Eastern time on the SEC Network. For Taylor Davis and Sam Peshek and our awesome production team, they're the best. I'm John Roethlisberger. Thanks for joining us, and go spread some joy.